What's up, y'all? You know what I'm saying? Back at it again on this wonderful, wonderful day out here. You know what I'm saying? Enjoying it for what it is, for what it's worth. I want to thank the people that's been subscribing to the channel and watching the videos and hitting me in my inbox and showing me love. That's much appreciated, man. I do it for y'all. You know what I'm saying? Shit. You know, support black media. Support black, support black stations like this. You know what I'm saying? That gives African history and African news from an African point of view. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things we got to conquest on our own. Get our own little station and stuff like that, doing things like that. Support black radio. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Black Eye Stand, the cats out of Seattle, Current Magazine, all them cats like that. You know, I still fuck with them. They still my peoples. You know what I'm saying? Who else? Shout out to my man, Elder Ascari out of Puerto, you know what I'm saying, in New York, doing big things for Puerto Rican people, man. I love brothers like that, that's in the field, that's doing the work, field marshals. You know what I'm saying? That's out there doing what they got to do. You know what I'm saying? Doing what's righteous. I feel like I'm doing my part, and I need to do a lot more. And you should too, after, you know what I'm saying, watching this video. And watching these videos and just looking at the current situation going on with our people worldwide and stuff like that. I mean, worldwide. It is really, whoa. Don't let this mainstream media flux you like that, man. I'm going to start dropping worldwide shit on this too, man, to let our people know what's up. What's really going on in the world through the Pan-African, out of this side of the diaspora, Africa diaspora, and Oceania. You know what I'm saying? Can't forget our brothers out there in the Pacific Ocean. You know what I'm saying? Banging and balling and fighting. You know what I'm saying? So, we're going to talk about this video really, is about tactics. One more time before I get to the video, man. You know what I'm saying? I want to say thank you. I'm just very humbled about that. You know what I'm saying? Very, very humbled about that and very, very appreciative, Okay, now this video that we gonna get into today is about tactics. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna probably send this video out and do it again because this is how important this video is. You know what I'm saying? I'm reading for Saul Solansky, Rules for Radicals. You know what I'm saying? Tactics. We will either find a way or we will make one. From the African General Hannibal. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing we've been knocked off in education. We never read the strategy of our African general, African leadership and political leadership. You know what I'm saying? Because we've been cut off from that. But, this is what Hannibal says. We will either find a way or make one. Tactics mean doing what you can with what you have. Tactics are those conscious and deliberate acts by which human beings live with each other and deal with the world around them. In the world of give and take, tactics is an art of how to take and how to give. Here's our concern with tactics and taking. How the have-nots can take power from the haves. You know what I'm saying? For illustration purpose of tactics, take part of your face as a point of reference. Your eyes, your ears, and your nose. First, your eyes. If you have a vast organization, a mass broad people that can parade it visibly before your enemy and openly show your power. All right, I'm read again. First, the eyes. If you have an organization of a vast mass base of people organization, you can parade it visibly and openly show your power before your enemy and openly show your power. You see this with Martin Luther King. We see this with Farrakhan, the Million Man March. You know what I'm saying? That's still a good tactic that can use. Even with Black Lives Matter, you know what I'm saying, marches and stuff. On the other side, too, the alternate right, they use it, too. Second, the ears. If your organization is small in numbers, then do what Gideon did. Conceal the numbers in the dark, but raise a din and a clamor that will make your listeners believe your organization numbers is more than it really does. All right? So use your ears. You know what I'm saying? Use the net. You know what I'm saying? That's communication, basically, when it comes down to it. You know what I'm saying? Making communication bigger than what it was. A good example is that if you see the movie Panther, and the FBI agent got mad when he found the paper, the Black Panther news call paper, and he got mad and shit like that and said, oh, they got a newspaper? Even though they was very small in numbers. Or in another movie incident in the movie Panther, when they went up to the California legislator, you know what I'm saying? And they said, Bobby, you know what I'm saying, Huey, you need to stay here. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know how big we really are. You know what I'm saying? That's using your ears. You know what I'm saying? Third, the nose. If your noise organization is too small to make a teeny noise, then stink up the place. Now that's a good tactic to use too. You know what I'm saying? Who uses this tactic pretty good? A lot of stuff just getting stuff started. You know, you just by yourself making shit happen. You know what I'm saying? Really, you know what I'm saying? If you by yourself making stuff happen, going out to debate. Malcolm X, that's come to, you know what I'm saying? It was when he left the Nation of Islam, it was just him. He was banging and balling, you know what I'm saying? Got people that were left with him and followed and stuff like that. You know, he made enough noise to sneak out the place. Always remember the first rule of power tactics. Power is not only what you have, but what the enemy thinks you have. The second rule, never go outside the experience of your people. When an action or tactic is outside the experience of the people, the result is confusion, fear, and retreat. It also means a collapse of communication, as we have noted. The third rule, whenever possible, go outside the experience of the enemy. Here's when you want to cause confusion, retreat, and fear. A good way to see that is, for those that's history buffs and stuff like that, the fall of France in 1940. Going way outside the enemy experience. The Gulf War, you know what I'm saying? Hell, the Vietnam War with the United States and the French. You know what I'm saying? Guerrilla warfare took them way outside their experience for a standing army. General Sherman, who named his frenzy reaction to the South, provided a capsule example of going outside the enemy experience, henceforth from the Civil War. Until Sherman, military tactics and strategies based on standard patterns. All armies have fronts, rears, flanks, lines of communication, supply lines. Military campaigns were aimed at such a standard objective as rolling up the flanks of the enemy, or cutting lines of supply, or some lines of communication, or moving an attack from the rear. When Sherman chose to cut loose his famous March to the Sea, he had no front or no rear lines of supply or any other lines. He was loose, living on the land, right? Living off the moment, all right? Living off the moment in organization, you know what I'm saying? Because in this 24-hour news cycle, shit is so fleeting. The South, confronted with this new form of military invasion, reacted with confusion, panic, and terror and collapse. Sherman swept in an inevitable victory, and the same tactic years later in the early days of World War II, the Nazi Panzer tank divisions emulate their far-flung sweeps of enemy territory, as did our own General Patton with the 3rd Armored Division. Fourth rule, make the enemy live to their own books of rules. This is highly important. You know what I'm saying? I was watching this last night that displayed the fourth rule, you know what I'm saying? And that's how they got a little bit of courage, was the Mau Mau, you know what I'm saying? The Mau Mau, you know what I'm saying, made the enemy live to their own book of attack, and they couldn't take it, you know what I'm saying? The British is worse than the Mau Mau. Had concentration, people don't know that. They had concentration camps in Kenya, all type of shit like that. This after World War II in the 1950s. You know what I'm saying? Forcing them to try to take an oath. Right? But make the enemy live to their own book of rules. You could kill them with this, for they have no more to obey their own rules than the Christian church can live to Christianity. That's a good. The fourth rule carries within it the fifth rule. Ridicule is the man's most important weapon. It's almost impossible to counterattack ridicule. It also infuriates opposition when you have react to your advantage. You know, we some good blazers, we get some good comedians and stuff like that. We can always use ridicule. That's the fifth rule. The sixth rule, a good tactic is that your people enjoy. So a good tactic is one that people love to do. You know what I'm saying? If your people not having the ball or doing it, there's something wrong with the tactic. The seventh rule, the tactic drags on too long, it becomes a drag. Back to that fleeting moment of, you know what I'm saying, the cycle and stuff. A man can sustain a military interest in any issue for only a limited time, after which becomes a ritualistic commitment, like going to church on Sunday mornings. New issues and crises are always developing, and one reaction becomes, well, my heart bleeds for those people, and all I'm going for the boycott, but after all, there's more important things in life, and there it goes. The sixth rule, the eighth rule, excuse me, that was the seventh rule, the tactic becomes a drag too long. The eighth rule, keep the pressure on. With different tactics and different action, utilize all events of the period for your purpose. A person that did this, you know, real good was the person that did this real good is keeping the pressure on until you get it out. It's a guy that he's a Puerto Rican nationalist. I can't think of his name off rip right now. He in Chicago and New York right around now. But he was locked up in the feds. And Clinton had a pardon. You know what I'm saying? He did for something he did in the 70s. I'm not trying to disrespect nobody. Just don't know the story fully offhand off rip. But the key word was the pressure they kept putting on him to get him released. You know what I'm saying? and eventually got him released. It's Black Panthers in jail right now who did more time than I ever took breath on this earth. You know what I'm saying? But because there's no organization, no action, and the leadership, the so-called black leadership is not on that, then ta-da, you don't have nothing. They're still in jail, fighting and banging and balling. You know what I'm saying? Political prisoners. We don't think about that. Number 9, threats are usually more terrifying than the thing itself. This is true. This is true in the mind. Threats are more terrifying than the things that make it than the thing itself. We make it worse than what it really is. You know, that's real talk. So while making it worse than what it really is, we lose what? We lose what? Our self-confidence. You know what I'm saying? So we can't make the threat really what terrifying is. You know what I'm saying? Most of these marks, as we know from the streets and from around the way that's growing up in America, whatever, whoop-de-whoop, they just talking shit. You know what I'm saying? And there's some good shit talkers. Like going back to the other rule, ridicule. You know what I'm saying? Rule number 10. The major premise of attack is the development of operation that will maintain constant pressure upon the opposition. It is in this unceasing pressure that the results in the reaction from the opposition are essential for success of the campaign. It should be remembered not only that the action is in the reaction, but the action itself, the consequences of the reaction, and the reaction to the reaction ad infinitum. The pressure produces reaction, and constant pressure sustains action. Rule number 11. If you push a negative hard and deep enough, it will break through the counterside. This is based on the principle that everything positive happens in the negative, which is a natural law. Everything positive does happen, that's a natural law. You can't beat that. You know what I'm saying? We were already seeing in the conversion of negative side into the positive in Muhammad Gandhi's development of active and passive resistance. This is Saul Lance, he says about, you know, Gandhi and passive resistance and stuff like that. Rule number 12. The price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. You cannot risk being trapped by the enemy in a sudden agreement with your demand saying you're right and we don't know what to do about this issue. Now you tell us. 13. Rule number 13. Pick a target, freeze it, personalize it, and popularize it. Alright? Pick a target, because you got to pick targets. You know what I'm saying? People always say, you know, white supremacy, the system, okay. You know, that's a big whop. You know what I'm saying? So you got to start isolating, start picking down targets. You know, freeze it, personalize it, and popularize it. You know what I'm saying? In the conflict of tactics, there are certain rules that an organization should always regard as universalities. One is which the opposition may be singled out as a target and frozen. By this, I mean a complex, interrelated urban society. It is extremely difficult to single out the one who's to blame for any particular evil. There is a constant and somewhat legitimate passing of the buck. In these times of urbanization, complex metropolitan governments, and the complexity of major interlocked corporations, these interlocking of political life between cities and counties and metropolitan authorities, the problem that threatens to loom more and more is that of identifying of the enemy. Obviously, there is no points to tactics unless they are targeted upon the center of the attack. One big problem is the constant shifting of responsibility from one jurisdiction to another. Individuals and bureaus, one after another, disclaim responsibility for particular conditions, attributing that the authority for any change to come to some other force. Alright? In the corporation, one gets the situation where the president of the corporation says that he does not have the responsibility. Is up to the board of trustees or the board of directors. The board of directors gets shifted over to the stockholders, etc., etc. You know, just shifting the blame. The same thing goes, for example, the board of education appointments in the city of Chicago, where an extra legal committee is empowered to make selections of nominees of the board. And the mayor then uses legal powers to select names from that list. When the mayor is attacked for not having any blacks on the list, he shifts responsibility over to the committee, pointing out that he has to select those names from a list submitted by the committee. But if the list is all white, then he has no responsibility. The committee can shift the responsibility back to point to the mayor, who has the authority to select the names. And so on, it goes back and forth as a comic and tragic routine of who's on first and who's on second, or as a shell under the P hitting 3-card motley. The same evasion of responsibility is found in all areas of City Hall and urban renewal departments. Who says the responsibility is over here? Somebody says the responsibility is over there. The city says it's the state responsibility, and the state says it's the federal responsibility, and the federal government passes it back to the local community, and on and on and on and on. It should be borne in mind that Target is always trying to shift responsibility out of being the target. It's a constant squirming and a moving in strategy, purposeful and malicious at times. Other times, just for the straight self-survival on the part of the designated target. The forces of change must be kept in mind and pin a target down securely. If an organization permits responsibility to be diffused or distributed in a number of areas, attack becomes impossible. Alright, I remember specifically, this is Saul Solansky, that when the Woodlawn organization campaign started public school segregation, both the superintendent and the chairman of the board of education vehemently denied any racial segregation practice in the Chicago public school system. They took the position that they didn't have any racial identification data in their files, so they didn't know which students were black and which was white. For that fact, we had all white schools and just black schools, and that's the way it was. If we had confronted with a politically sophisticated school superintendent, he could have very well replied, look, I came to Chicago, the school system was the following, and now as the neighborhood policy, Chicago neighborhoods are segregated. There are white neighborhoods, there are black neighborhoods. Therefore, you have white schools, you have black schools. Why attack me? Why not attack the segregated neighborhoods and change them? He would have a valid point of sorts. I was still sure and thinking of the possibility that, but segregated schools would have to pass the buck to someone else, and so have gone into a dog chases tail pattern. It would have been a 15-year job trying to break down the segregated pattern of Chicago. We did not have the power to start that kind of conflict. One criteria is picking your target is picking the target's vulnerability. Where do you have the power to start? Furthermore, any target can always say, why do you center on me when there's others to blame as well? When you freeze the target, you disregard these arguments and, for the moment, all others to blame. Then, as you zero in and freeze your target and carry on attacks, all others come out the woodwork very soon. They become very visible in support of the target. So the other people that you're trying to attack, when you freeze the target, and you freeze that person, you know what I'm saying, as a point of attack in your tactics, you know what I'm saying, all other people, you know what I'm saying, as a target would say, well, there's other people doing the same thing, but you're going to catch them when they come out and support the target. You understand? You let them expose their hand. You don't go out there and try to expose them. Because eventually they will. They all one big clique. Then, as in zero in and freeze the target and carry your attack, all others will come out the woodwork very soon. And they're visible support of the target. And other important in choosing the target, it must be personification, not something general or abstract such as the community segregated policies or a major corporation or city hall. It is possible to develop the necessary skills of hostilities in, say, City Hall, which after all is a concrete, physical, inanimate structure, or against a corporation which has no soul or identity, or public school administration, which is an object of the system. You know, so it's very, very important. You know, you attack, you could say, like when you're saying like that, you could say white supremacy, but then again, you know, saying white supremacy is a breathing system. So you got to attack a person in the system that's pushing the white supremacy, the so-called white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can say that. And that's another thing where we lacking at, because people can say white supremacy all day, but they're not naming the names. You know what I'm saying? So it leads to like some, like, you know, like some type of spook god. You know what I'm saying? Shazam. You know, white supremacy can have functioning actors to make it roll. So you know what I'm saying? You gotta attack those functioning actors. A lot of places where we fall off at, and we get started. You know what I'm saying? When we started getting on that, we start getting distracted from that. You know what I'm saying? But there's still more to go. We get distracted from all that stuff, so we got to figure out, you know what I'm saying, that's a tactic. You just can't say this. Like what happened recently in Minnesota, and they attacked the police chief. You know what I'm saying? A dude got gunned down up there in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Keep the attack on him. He's the face of white supremacy in that instance. You keep the attack on him. You know what I'm saying? Then when people come out and support, because the mayor will come out to support, you know what I'm saying? The goddamn it, what's that shit? The union's gonna come out and support him. Then you say, okay, this is all the other function branches of white supremacy, and then you pick your targets out of them. You know what I'm saying? Keeping the pressure on them. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of stuff we gotta have. These are tactics. These are stuff that get you over the top. Stuff that's doing the work. You know what I'm saying? So this kind of stuff we gotta do. Well, that's the video in a whole nutshell. You know what I'm saying? About the tactics and stuff like that, and you know, and how to get down with them. I thought it was more tactics than this, but I must be mistaken. You know what I'm saying? But it's a good book to get, so I don't ask you rules for radicals. It's a good read. I advise everybody to read it and stuff like that. You know, it breaks down how to get stuff organized and how to get stuff started. You know what I'm saying? And the stuff he went through going as an organizer, setting up stuff. You know, so he got some good tactics that's used, like I said before, and things that we can do before to help make our stuff progress. Hey, y'all subscribe to the channel. We got more and more videos like this. I might redo this video, you know, to break it down a little bit more, because cats don't want to just hear you talk, you know what I'm saying, on camera and stuff. They like seeing pictures and, you know what I'm saying, and had to break it down on that type of level. So I probably will more likely do this video again. But subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have much more videos on African history coming on up. You know, much more stuff by J.A. Rogers, you know, our elder ancestor, you know what I'm saying? And some other new stuff, you know, want to keep it popping. So like I said before, subscribe to the video. Hey, much love to all y'all. The channel's Koski. I'm on Black Junction TV, Instagram, IGTV, you know, a lot of other places and stuff like that. And also support black media. You gotta show love to our people, man. You know what I'm saying? It's, hey, you know, we gotta show love to our people. Show love to yourself. Stay in the present moment. Peace.